about me that I'm now discovering in my 30s is as a developing youth, I was never able to do drama club or theater. Over the decades, it just compounded and bottled up, and now here I am. Hi. Welcome to my new sewing room. It's only, I guess, half a new room. This all used to be Nick's office. It was very oblong, a lot of unused space. We just put this wall up and have henceforth claimed this as my sewing room / guest room. Does that mean that my days of sprawling out on the living room floor, traversing around like Gollum, are over? My plan for this room is to go full Hobbit. In the past, I've gone about 76% Hobbit. I am going to try my best to make this look like a Hobbit hole belonging to a Hobbit seamstress. Of course, we can only get so accurate. We're not replacing the windows or the doors. We're gonna make it work with square fixtures. I'm really excited to just run with this because you know, your girl loves a theme. I suppose we should just head to design phase and figure out what I need to do. All right, buckaroos. To Hobbit holify this room, I'm gonna follow reference photos from the interior of the Hobbit holes in New Zealand. First thing we're gonna do is add some beams, a Hobbit fireplace, a Murphy bed for guests, and then hopefully some sewing bits and bobs and storage, a place for my sewing machine, and lots of knickknacks. Let's get started. Now, because we essentially just cut Nick's office in half, a bit of a problem that this room is now just a room of holding, but instead of magical items, it's cat poop, leftover flooring, and all of Nick's doodads. First order of business is to clear this room out, which I'm not looking forward to. Okay, here we go. Hee hee, that was fun wearing a fashionable outfit for 5 milliseconds. It's time for big business. Oh God, I'm so strong. Oh my God, it's huge. Things are about to get sensual. Oh, time to paint. I did order plaster paint, which I'm quite excited to try. I don't know if I have enough of it. That's a problem for future Rachel. And it says you're supposed to put a primer down first, but I'm not gonna do that. This angsty wall of doom. I am going to paint the primer on this wall because I might as well. The beginning parts of a home renovation project are always quite dull to watch, so I'll try to jazz this up as much as I can. All right, that's enough of that. Love dreams remind me, I left my heart behind me. Nothing like the smell of impractical home renovation in the morning. What's to do today? I've got my boards. The plan, measure for the beams, start cutting out the beams, make them look like a little bit softer, rounder wood, because if you look at Hobbit holes, the beams are not super duper sharp on the edges, kind of voluptuous. The paint is actually out for delivery today, which is really freaking sweet. All right, team, let's go take some measurements. Potatoes on 3. 1, 2, 3. Potatoes. For the beams, I'm kind of gonna mash together all my reference photos and kind of make my own. Give the room a little bit more roundness. So I started just sketching right onto the wall since I was gonna paint it anyway. We're doing great, have a disembodied thumb. And then to make the pattern of the offshoot beams, I just traced it onto this paper, very scientifically just lifting up the paper to see where my lines were. As the ancient karate masters once said, hey-ya! Have some footage of me literally wandering around looking for a pen for way too long. Once a writing utensil was finally located, I marked out the beams and then cut out with an X-Acto knife. I wouldn't say this was difficult per se, but it was a lot of work, and I did switch to a longer blade eventually. Hello. Hello from my hillbilly porch. That was a lot more work than I thought it was gonna be, and I feel like I went to the gym, or what I would imagine people feel like after they go to the gym. What I'm gonna try to do, burn off the edges and make them a little bit smoother. And to do that, I have this, oh yeah, beautiful. That'll do, pig. I feel like I should probably put my face mask on. I really don't want to. Why? All right. Wah.
This was a very, very, very satisfying part of the project. Normally when doing fake beams, I would Dremel in the grain, but for this, I just decided to see if I could just scratch it in there, and it worked really, really well. So I did it to all the other beams that I needed to, and called it a day.
Hi there. Are you ready to futz around and find out? I don't know exactly when I'm gonna get out of my 30, flirty, and overwhelmed stage of the project. I'm assuming it'll eventually happen. Purchased some Roman clay paint, which I've never used before. It looks like a very plaster-based paint, which you put on with, you know, a scalpel, or whatever you call this thing. Please. I don't know if it's actually thick enough to do that, but beigey tan. Apparently you're supposed to do more than one coat and let it dry overnight, so I'm gonna get started on the first coat. There's a lot of unknowns. I don't know if this is enough to do the whole room. If not, I will probably focus on this wall and then the fireplace wall. Let's just get rolling. If I can open it. Dang, nabbit. Oh, wall? I don't actually know how to open this. Oh. I know you were worried, but I used my big monkey brain and I used tools. This is an unforeseen dilemma. Ooh, I did it. Wow, I feel like I need a close-up of that. I'll recreate the moment again, and action. Wow. Shoop. This is only gonna take me 67 years. It's gonna be my 11th birthday before I'm done with this. I can't describe to you how satisfying it is to dip this baby in here. Consistency, I can only describe that experiment you did in elementary school, that like neither solid nor liquid sludge. Solid, but then if you let it sit, it's liquid. Wow, that's fun. Let's give it a go, y'all.
After hours and finally running out, I assumed the position. And just in time for...
All right, buckaroos. You ready to make a Hobbit fireplace? Woo-wee! All right, I've got my handy dandy notebook here. I've already gone and taken the measurements. I'm realizing Blue's Clues might be a huge part of why I love watching people draw. Steve, what have you done to me? Much like the beams, I'm going to make this entirely out of the insulation boards. Is this a bit unhinged of me? Who can say?
I had to get a bit resourceful on how to make a complete circle. But this worked, and I just extended the edges by about like 3 inches. And then just kept cutting out all the different pieces I needed. I started assembling all the pieces with some construction adhesive, and honestly, I still cannot believe this even worked. Crafting gods were with me this day.
Okay, so almost there. These are the mantle pieces. These are the top, bottom, front, and then the 2 sides go on top. Don't mind the absolute aftermath of a natural disaster that is this living room. I'm in the middle of Dragon Con prep, okay? I cannot be held responsible for the cyclone that I create. Continuing. Is it possible that I've once again bit off more than I can masticate? Bump. so, baby. That's better. Now that I've got the skeleton of the fireplace all set up there, start working on the details. So I recently upgraded my 3D printer. That part is not important, but within the package that it came in, had this padding. There's a bunch of it. I thought that this looked quite like brick texture, and you can kind of just... Okay, that was not as smooth as I thought it was gonna be. Cut the individual bricks for the fireplace out of this. Why not recycle a little bit? Working with trash. Like a glove. That'll do very nice.
Once the bricks were laid, I added these little corbel details with 2 pieces of boards and foam. Honestly, this whole process was way too fun, and I might start making all of my furniture out of boards.
Be not confused. I know that right now I look like some sort of Victorian Ghostbuster.
Whoops, art thou going to beckon?
But today is all about painting and painting and painting and painting and painting. As much as I would like to just get to the fun stuff and start decorating, this needs to be done first. Rats. As you saw, I ran out of the plaster paint. I went and I grabbed a very similar, normal wall paint, and hopefully it matches enough. I don't need it to match exactly. It would be nice. I have about 1/3 left of the room, and then the ceilings. I'm going to be extra specially careful on the ceiling because I'm not having a repeat disaster of 2023. It's not my proudest moment. All right, tally-ho. Next, I recently was quite accosted by targeted Facebook ads. Happens to the best of us. I'm trash. I was suckered into buying Retique It. It's supposed to make non-wooden things look wooden. Must have been what they used in that one NSYNC video. The idea is that the primer, 60% wood grain in it or something. When that's all dry, you stain it like you would anything else that's wood. So when you're painting it on with the primer, you kind of are giving it that grain. They also came with these grain stamps. I think for these beams, I don't need that. Let's give this a shot, shall we? Whoop, and drop it on the floor almost immediately. Now I know what you're thinking. I should probably test this on something not so large and integral to the room. But life is about taking risks or being too lazy to take precautions. It's a fine line. Careful. And then kind of just painting it on there. The bristles are going to give it that grain. Get a little bit of dog hair in there. That's not in the instructions, but I do know that's a very important part of this. During Christmas time, that's how you know if a present is from me. A little bit of Frodo and Binks. Just for you, Merry Christmas. I can bet you it's probably hard to see. If this actually works, I may be in danger. Turning everything I own into wood. It's gonna be a bit like King Midas, except instead of gold, everything's gonna look like I made it in my workshop. Toaster, wooden. Toilet, a timber throne. I'm gonna keep going with this, and then once this dries, we can stain it. So let's see if this actually works. Oops, it's the next day. I honestly cannot keep track of what day it is in this project. 7 or 8, I think. Surface level, it may not seem like I've done a lot to the actual room. The next 2 days are where the fun begins. That being said, the primer is dry. Now it's time to stain it. So I got this like, I think it's cedar, orangey, wow. Oh God. It's like an orangey brown. Usually I don't gravitate towards this color. To match the Hobbit hole, they like a warm wood. Oh. That's nice. Look at that. That looks like wood. I'm quite pleased.
And then it was time to paint the bricks. So I mixed up a paint mixture that resembled brick color and started slapping that paint on there. Leaving some of that color variation, so not mixing everything completely, because if you look at bricks, they have a lot of different colors going on. Something wasn't sitting quite right with me with the color of the fireplace, so I went in and actually weathered it with some brown and black acrylic. And then copying the soot marks from my reference photo. This was really fun to do.
Somebody please explain to me why I do all of my big home renovation projects in summertime. I literally was just vacuuming, and the breeze that came out of the vacuum, I was like, oh, that's nice.
It's time for beam time. Oh, beam time.
I have liquid nails. They're pretty light, so here's to hoping anyway. Ready? Remember, do I have to puncture you? Ow! Mother frick. It's gonna go on the exterior, I think. I'm nervous, okay. I need to trim just the tiniest bit off the bottom here, but it's on there. Now is when the real fun begins. It's very echoey in here. Let's fix that. Okay, friends, so it is the final day. I'm a little nervous. I'm not gonna be able to get everything done in time. Hold on, let me tell my beloved husband to maybe not shout over the microphone. In terms of this video, I need to learn to be okay with having kind of just the very base of this done. It's okay, this is me talking to my own brain, it's okay to work on it over time. It doesn't need to be 1000% finished for a video. Oh, I don't believe you, but okay. We are going to start doing the fun stuff today, which is furnishing and decorating. I've got a lot to do, and a lot of it I need Nick's help with, assembling and the little details. I have a lot of decor that I bought at Brimfield, which you may have seen. I have a lot of stuff in boxes downstairs from when we moved in 2022. Art thou ready? So it begins. A little unhinged, but...
Okay, so I painted these regal pet portraits of Binks and Frodo in 2016, and they've been sitting in my basement forever because I didn't know where to put them. With a little zhuzhing, I'm gonna make them look like the portraits that hang over Bilbo's fireplace. So I just had to extend the background a little and then fit them back in the frames.
I've got a very special package. Although I'll be honest, it's not quite what I thought it was going to be. The inside of this is gonna be brick. I received it today. Yeah. As you can see, the bricks are minuscule. What are these, bricks for ants? But whatever, it's fine. Honestly, I just didn't want like a plain wall behind this. I'm gonna paint them pretty much black anyways, so I just wanted like the brick texture. I did do quite a silly thing, and I got a fireplace insert that looks like logs and it glows, and then it projects fire onto the back surface. And I plugged it in yesterday and I'm really excited about it. Oh, wow. Are you tired of having a fireplace? Well, watch this. Yeah. Ta-da! That's lovely, that is.
Nick helped me put up these new shelves, and by helped, I mean pretty much did all of the work. I was worried that these would scream 90s suburban mom too much. Wow, they remind me of Italy, but I actually really like them. And then it was time to move the Murphy bed into the room, which is really fun on a 94-degree day. So after giving the mattress life,
It's alive!
it just folds out into 3 pieces.
Wow, look at that. That's nice.
And then folds back up into the cabinet, and Bilbo's your uncle. Then we started moving in more furniture, including the sewing table that was there when we moved in, and I've always wanted to use it somewhere.
Behold, my new baby. Oh no, you're still my baby, huh?
Just then Frodo felt it necessary to educate me on current events.
You guys, the newspaper? Wow.
Then it was time to put the ceiling beams up, which at first were a bit flaccid. But then after a few adjustments, it fit like a glove. I was worried just using the nail gun to put them up wouldn't work, but I mean, it seems to be working. I could feel my energy waning, so I put on some Bowie and got to work. The amount of serotonin just putting up little bunting gives me is absolutely wild. Last but not least, it was time to put the fireplace in.
Wow.
And with that, she is ready for the reveal.
Holy heckin' I always feel so weird after projects that take all of my brain capacity for 2 weeks straight or more. Boy howdy. But it is done in terms of this video. Obviously this is gonna be a room that I'm using all the time. Many projects will be birthed in this room. It is not 100% complete. I do want to get a little bit more furniture. For instance, I would really love to get a hutch or a skinny bookcase to go here. Put up the letterpress shelves that I got from Broomfield. I could not locate our picture hanging kit, so I couldn't hang a lot of things on the wall. The amount of happiness that this is already bringing me, when I walk by to go downstairs and just catching a glimpse of it, I'm really happy with how the beams came out. It's not sponsored by Retikit, but also Retikit if you want to sponsor me. Granted, I did have to go over with a darker paint, but that's kind of my fault for choosing such an orange color. Real wood isn't just one color anyways, so yeah. Things that I might futz around with and change. The color of this, I'm not super jazzed about, but you would be surprised, or maybe you wouldn't, how hard finding a vintage antique looking Murphy bed is. So I struggled a lot to even find this one, and I like everything but this kind of like fake gray. Eventually I might change the color of this and then maybe add some like little hobbity flower paintings. So that's one of my plans. If you look closely up top, they don't quite match the ceiling. Add just the tiniest sliver, fill in that gap, and then just kind of butts it and make it all look like one piece. Not a huge deal. Is it bugging me every time I look at it? Perhaps, but I think I'll be okay for now. The fireplace I am so freaking happy with. I have to be careful not to put a ton of weight on this because it's not super structurally sound. Eventually, I think we're gonna add just a chunk of wood attached to the wall underneath the mantle so that it rests on it. But for now, I'm just not putting anything heavy on it. I'm so happy with the fireplace insert. Just look at how freaking cute that is. I am glad that my intuition transforming trash was correct. And now I feel justified in keeping just about every packaging material instead of throwing it out. Overall, I'm so freaking happy. It's the theater set of my dreams. I feel like a hobbit. It's whimsical and cozy, and I hope that whoever stays here has a fun time staying in a little themed retreat. That means you, Savannah. But yes, that is it. I hope that you had fun watching. I love making whole room renovation videos. They are a ton of work and I am exhausted by the end of them, but this is truly what I love to do. The more and more I do themed home renovation stuff, the more I fall in love with it. So even though the rest of my house right now is a disaster, from moving everything out of this room just into the hallway, behind every home renovation project lies a pile of styrofoam and cardboard that you don't know how to get rid of. Anywho, I love you so very much, whether you're new or old to this channel. If you're new here and you feel like sticking around, feel free to subscribe. I upload every other Friday. And we have fun here. And I will see you in my next video. Bye bye. I suppose we should, oh my God. I am confused, how do I open you? Whoa, what did I do? What is happening? Huh. How'd they know my nickname? Why does anybody spend any time going to the gym or exercising when you can just do that for like an hour? You're good. Oh, I just talked for like 5 minutes and I wasn't recording.